Hey everyone, welcome to today's luncheon. We appreciate your time. This is probably the second event that we have held post craziness of the pandemic lockdown, and so we sure appreciate you coming out, and especially today as we launch a new strategy for PEG. My name is Rachel O, and I am on the capital markets team, and so we welcome you all. A lot of faces I know and a lot of faces I don't, so we're really excited. This is a new strategy for PEG and for the region. I wanted to kind of outline what's going to happen today. So we've got Soren Halliday, who's our Chief Investment Officer. He will be primarily driving the conversation. And then we do have members of the senior team here, including Cameron Gunter, who's our founder CEO, Rob Fetzer, our president and COO, and Craig Bingham, who is our CFO. So we would like to have a healthy Q&A after the kind of prepared comments are done. And then there are other members of the PEG team. So again, we welcome you today. We sure appreciate seeing faces. Thank you for coming. And I'm going to turn the time over to Soren.
All right. Can everybody hear me okay while you're eating, munching? All right. Thanks, Rachel. Like Rachel said, I'm Soren Halliday, your Chief Investment Officer here at PEG, and grateful to be here. Glad that you guys are here as well. Hopefully the food is good. I thought that salad dressing was awesome. It's really good, right? So before we start, the handouts that you have inside your folder is kind of a hybrid of what we have here. We're not presenting in the folder slide by slide what's in the handout. So, or in the presentation. So you probably don't need to look at that. If you're looking at that while we're talking, you're going to be a little confused. But a lot of the information in the pitch deck that you have is here that we presented today. And there's some other pictures and stuff that we included here that isn't in the pitch deck, just so you don't fall asleep, because we know how much everybody likes pictures. So, just like to introduce to you David Bourne. He's right here. Just David, you stand up. David, we just brought on not too long ago, several weeks ago. I've known David for a long time. David and I worked together at Lennar Homes years ago in different capacities, and he's been a good friend of mine for a long time, and we were fortunate enough to swing him over to PEG, and he's really going to be the one who's strategy-wise managing this strategy going forward. In my role, I get to have the privilege of helping oversee several of the strategies that we manage and run, and so I spend a lot of my time in different areas. A lot of it really lately has been in this build for rent strategy that we're going to talk to you about. So for the last 7-8 months, we've really dug into this product type and have learned a lot. And so we're excited to be moving forward. We're excited to be where we're at today, being able to launch this fund, this capital raise, and to have people like you involved and to learn about what we're doing. So we're going to go forward and tell you what we're doing. So this is our fourth fund. It's about $200 million capital raise is what we're looking to do. And it's specifically designed around the build for rent housing product, which it's actually been around for a while, but there have been a lot of people, it's not really well known in the marketplace, and it's becoming very well known right now. I think COVID had a very strong impact on this product type, and you're seeing an enormous amount of institutional capital starting to flood into this market, into this space. And again, we'll talk a little bit more about it. And then the thing that we really like about this with PEG is the fact that we think that we are built, our structure as a company, we think we're built perfectly to be able to take advantage of this investment class because of our vertical nature, where we are able to source deals, oversee construction, operate multifamily for rent products, which it falls within that operation situation of what we're going to do, and then being able to manage it and dispose of it. So we just through that whole process, we're able to manage the process and the investment. So we're really excited about that, and we'll get into a little bit of that. So I'm telling you what I'm going to tell you, and then I'm going to tell you that, and then we're going to summarize it at the end. So to start off with, what are we seeing currently in the marketplace? And what are the market dynamics that we're seeing? And this room is full of extremely astute individuals, and I don't think any of this is going to be a surprise to you. From what you're seeing, what you're feeling, what you're hearing, as you're investing in real estate, as you're living and owning and renting and owning rentals, or whatever it is, your children are trying to buy a home, or whatever it might be, you're seeing this just as well as we are, and we're just going to throw some data at you. So hang with me on some of this data. So average days on market for the homes that are out there. There's a shortage of product out in the market of homes, as you all know. So that's not surprising. The average days on market has gone way down, and the housing supply is way low, right? And that's across the United States. And we're going to get into a little bit more about the Intermountain West and some of the things that are happening in the Intermountain West, which we really, really like and really excited about, which we all live in. Residential housing new builds. So this chart on the right shows that basically what it's showing is that there has been an extreme lack of product that's been built over the last 10 to 20 years. And so there's a deficit of homes. And you can see that really was caused essentially by the 05, 06, 07 time period during the financial crisis there. Median, I think this is an interesting chart. We shared this at our investor conference in April. So if you were at that conference, you saw this as we kind of softly mentioned that we were starting this investment strategy. But this chart's pretty interesting. And it's actually interesting because we did this in April, and the numbers are even worse or better, however you want to say it. I mean, even today. And you're probably, as you read the news, you're seeing your own numbers, and numbers are coming out from all these different sources. But all the sources are about the same. There's an affordability issue. If you look at 2016 and the home prices in Salt Lake City, Boise, Phoenix, and the Intermountain West, we call that the Intermountain West area, you see home prices at averaging around $250,000. 5 years later, you're around $410 on average. And you can see just Boise alone, for example, has gone up significantly at $212. This is the median house price, right? The change is almost 100% in 5 years. Sorry, I don't want to get away. That's kind of a fun slide. I don't want to leave it just yet. So in just 2020 to 2021 alone is just astounding as far as how the home prices, median home prices have escalated, making it extremely difficult for people to get into a home. The affordability factor is significant. And you can see on average, compared to the United States, right? U.S. average is here. Right? So even in the United States has been a significant increase, but not nearly as significant as what we're seeing in the Intermountain West. Here's some really cool, pretty charts showing you there's a surge in renter demand. As interesting as it may sound, we see in the marketplace right now that there's an increase in the desire to rent. And it's all across the board, and all across the different age groups you're seeing. This increase. You're seeing here as well, this is an interesting slide or a chart, renting preferences by generation. You're seeing that there's an increase in the no interest in owning number, as well as the increase in renting is good for now. You can see from 2016 to 2019, these numbers are increasing. A survey of renters as far as why are you choosing to rent? Well, number one, they can't afford the down payment, right? That's pretty obvious from what we're talking about. There's a handful of individuals who believe it's more convenient for them to rent. The mobility factor, being able to live in a place where you can just lock your door and go on vacation and have everything professionally managed around you. It makes a lot of sense. There's a number of factors like that. So we're seeing the number of renters, that there continues to be this increase in demand on the rental side. Some current renter trends that came out of COVID. A couple of the interesting things, and this is probably another no-brainer, is the desire for living spaces to be increased. We're seeing that is happening, that people want to be able to control their environment. The work from home factor, this chart over here on the right, you're seeing that pre-COVID, the remote working or part-time, partial or full-time was significantly lower than the in-office working space location versus the quick flip in April of 2020, and it continued on to December of 2020. And we believe that long term, that effect is still going to be there. That the desire and the ability for people to work remotely is still going to be in effect. Not as significant as it is now, but we think it's still going to be there. And that's something that we believe is a permanent change. And again, the chart on the left showing from 2020 to 2021, a desire to live in a larger space and also to have more outdoor space. So in looking at that and in looking at some of the trends that we're going to talk to you about with this product, we're seeing that there's this more demand, this greater demand to have some type of outdoor space living, whether it's a small yard, just a back patio that's closed off, something where they can have an animal that goes out and does its business, or that they can go out and they can have a little barbecue or whatever it is. Demand for more outdoor space has increased quite a bit. So what is this build for rent product and why is it so special? So the build for rent product is part of the single family rental family. A single family rental, as you can imagine, is technically a place you live in that you rent, right? But that is more it's not a multifamily stacked flat product, but it's a single family, single level, meaning like one door type of product. So in residential communities, well, let me back up a second. This product really has come in two different forms. The first form is probably the one that's more commonly understood, is just a regular home. You're in a regular neighborhood. So most likely not the type of neighborhood you live in right now, but the neighborhood that you might have grown up in. Regular tract housing, they all look the same. They're all essentially for sale product. There's probably disparate homes inside that neighborhood that are for rent. Someone owns it, a mom and pop manage it themselves, and they have a renter inside there. You're seeing these companies now that are buying up and gobbling up these homes. This happened after the 2008 financial crisis, right? So that's probably the more common single family rental product that you're seeing. What's not quite as common, that's really starting to hit society right now, are these build for rent communities. And we call them, to a certain extent, we call them patio homes. Oops, sorry, wrong button. Patio homes, which are horizontal apartments. We'll talk a little bit about that. Your townhomes, single family detached, but these are purpose-built communities that are managed by a professional property management company, similar to how an apartment building is managed. So an apartment building you can manage, tall apartment building, it's got 150 units. It's got one management company, and they manage the property. Very similar to what we're talking about here, a 10 to 20 to 30 acre property that has some type of for rent product that is managed by a professionally managed company. And most likely these places have apartment-like amenities. They might have a pool, they might have a clubhouse, they might have a fitness center, they might have attached or detached garages, so something similar to that effect. And they come in these different types. Patio homes, which are horizontal apartments, which we're going to talk about, like townhomes or single-family detached. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the patio home product. I think we all know what a townhome is and how they can be attached. Single-family homes can be detached. If they're attached, that's usually a townhome product. But what is a patio home in what we're talking about? Another term that we use is a horizontal apartment. So on the left, you see a community. This is a community in Arizona that is a patio home community. These are all single-family detached homes, except for some of them are attached. This is a community full of 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom units. And the 1-bedroom units have one shared wall, but the 2-bedroom units don't have any walls that are shared. 4 separate walls. They have a pool here, and this one, for instance, this is your leasing office. This property, actually this is a picture of this property, It doesn't have a clubhouse. It doesn't have a fitness center. It has an open area field, a couple different open spaces. It has a amenity by the pool that you can hang out at. There's a fire pit. There's a barbecue space back here. But this is a patio home community, or AKA a horizontal apartment community. These things have popped up in Arizona, in Texas, in the Southeast, in the Midwest, and they've actually caught on extremely well and are in super high demand. These are probably 5 or 6 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago is when these things really started popping up. In Arizona, there's a lot of this product. Here in the mountain west of Utah and Idaho, there's none of this product that has been built. The primary build for rent product you're seeing in Utah and Idaho are townhomes, and they're a pinwheel product, which is a townhome product as well. That's primarily in the Boise, Idaho area. So these horizontal apartment properties are starting to become a very popular, very high demand type of product. And the floor plans are very similar, if not almost identical, to apartments. Your one-bedroom units are approximately 700 square feet. Your two-bedroom units are 1,000 square feet, and your third-bedroom units are around 1,200 to 1,300 square feet. The difference between an apartment, obviously, and the amenities that these provide is these are all single level. And so there's no stairs that you're walking up. You have, for the most part, you have windows around your entire unit. You have a backyard, whether it's when you think of a backyard, most of you probably have acre houses with massive backyards, but these are smaller spaces, smaller backyards, obviously. Most of them have a doggy door type of product that allows the animal to go in and out. But spaces where they can hang out and they're separate from their neighbors. 10-foot ceilings are very common with this type of product. So it's something that actually feels bigger, and it's a living space that provides more of an amenity and attraction to the renter than just a typical apartment in a building where you're stacked on top of each other, and you have 9-foot ceilings and you're a little bit more enclosed and around other people. So what is this market all about? What's the size of this market? So our chart on the left is pretty interesting. You can see in the United States, the real estate market, this single-family rental market, which includes build for rent as well as single-family homes, is about $3.1 trillion. It's almost as big as multifamily itself, the attached product. It's bigger than any other type of product that's out there. The interesting thing about it is these are the 4 largest SFR REITs, and they make up about 1% of the entire market and the investment. The institutional market really only owns about 3% of the entire SFR product, which you compare that to traditional stacked flat multifamily. That's about 25% of the marketplace institutional capital has invested in. So you see this big gap, and another reason why institutions are now saying, hey, we've got an opportunity here to make a splash in this type of market. Total U.S. households, we just show this here, that 35% of U.S. households, 36% of them are renters, and of those renter types, just over half of them are this single family or townhome type of renter. So it's actually a very big market that's out there. The single family rental market is a high demand, it's a massive group that's out there, and we're just starting to understand more about it. It's just becoming a little bit more marketed into the world. Institutional capital is looking at this type of marketplace now versus maybe 5 years ago, but they're looking at it now very similar to attached multifamily product on a risk-based level. So you're seeing cap rates have compressed to be similar to what multifamily cap rates are. They look at the turnover, from what we're seeing in the studies we're seeing, turnover is less in the single family for rent product versus a multifamily product. And institutions love that. Intermountain West, some statistics that probably won't surprise you. The US is the red line. Blue is Salt Lake area, orange is the Phoenix area, and the gray is the Boise area. You see unemployment rates pretty stellar compared to the rest of the United States. Phoenix was along those lines historically in the past. Population growth is outperforming the United States significantly. Job growth outperforming the United States significantly, the rest of the nation. GDP growth outperforming. Rent growth continues to outperform. Occupancy, for the most part, outperforms. I mean, occupancy in the nationwide level at 95%, still astounding. And Phoenix is obviously right there right now, and it's getting better. So performance through COVID, Intermountain West, bottom left-hand area of your screen shows rent growth and occupancy outperforming the rest of the United States. You guys have all felt it who live here. There's just a huge attraction into the Intermountain West. And so we see that this influx of people into the Intermountain West, population growth, rent growth, wage growth, all this stuff, along with the lack of housing, the renter demand, it's very beneficial, we believe, for this for-rent product. You see the home price to income ratio has obviously increased from 2015 to 2019, making affordability challenged here in the Intermountain West. So what is PEG's strategy for build for rent? So our strategy with this fund is to go out and find 8 to 12 properties and execute a build for rent strategy on these properties. These properties are going to be anywhere from 10 to 20 to 25 acres, anywhere from 10 to 12 to 14 units per acre. Predominantly, we're looking primarily, I should say, at the horizontal apartment product, which we believe is going to make a great splash here in the Intermountain West area, as well as, which includes Utah and Idaho. It's already happening in Arizona. We are going to call these horizontal apartment communities patio homes. We're anticipating having resort-style living where you're going to have pool, clubhouse, fitness center, create a sense of arrival. When you come into this community, you're going to feel this wow of, hey, I've arrived, I'm excited to live here. The feeling when you enter into the leasing offices, this place is really awesome, it's really cool. I want to live in a home. I don't want to live in an apartment, but I want this to be a home. It could have attached garages. For the most part right now, we're looking at detached garages. And this product continues to evolve. As we've tracked it over the lifetime, which is only a handful of years in the Arizona, Texas markets, you're seeing that the product is evolving in the features that it provides. Attached versus detached garages being one of those. This is a sample community layout here. This is actually a community in Arizona, which is something very similar to what we are going to be building here in the Utah and Idaho area, where you have these patio homes separate from each other. They have yards and side yards. Areas are not located here. Your parking is along the interior. These are all single plat type of properties. So these individual units are not individually platted, but there's this entire property is an entire plat itself. Our strategy, like I mentioned before, is to implement our vertical integration, where we oversee the construction, and the construction will be performed by select contractors who are committed to this product and who understand this product. We'll be educating, I think ourselves in the sense of making sure that we have a partner who understands what they're doing, our goals, and how to deliver a product in a timely manner, to be able to lease it up in a timely manner, transition that over. And we think with our multifamily experience that we're going to be very successful in doing that. We manage over 2,000 units in the marketplace right now, and so we have that infrastructure set up. So having the ability to manage on a multifamily basis isn't going to be a problem for us. And then to be able to manage the asset going through dispositions. I think it works perfectly for PEG. We are creating a pipeline, as you can imagine. Our pipeline consists of properties across Salt Lake City and we will call it the Salt Lake City suburb, which is also included, Utah County is included therein. We have properties that we're looking at in Boise right now. We're putting these under contract. And we believe is a really healthy pipeline right away. The Arizona market is a market we're very interested in. It's a more mature market than what we have here for this product, but it is taking, with everything that's happening in Phoenix, all the companies that are moving to Phoenix, the population growth that's happening in Phoenix, we still believe that the Phoenix has a lot of room ahead of itself to perform. So you can see that right now we have anywhere from 100 to 150 to almost 200 million in total cost of product that we are committing ourselves to. And one of these examples that we're showing today is a property in Spanish Fork. So just down the street from us. This is the pallet site. I don't know if you probably all, as you drive north on the I-5, coming from wherever down south you are, there's a big smokestack on the east side of the road. That site we have under contract. What's that? The old sugar factory. So you're all familiar with the smokestack.
So the smokestack is in that.
The smokestack is right in here. Yeah, right here. So our subject property is adjacent to a single-family residential community. It's also adjacent to Cameron Gunter's favorite disc golf course along the river. So we think this is an awesome amenity to have the river right next to us, the golf course, the disc golf course next to us as well. But these homes right here are built in the 90s, early 90s, built in the, just as recent as a few years ago. Home sales are going from the high 3s, mid 4s to mid 5s right now. So you're seeing these comparable home sales just increasing similar to the numbers I showed you before. This is about a 20-acre site. And right now what we're designing is a horizontal apartment community, so a patio home community. It's going to have a sense of arrival. It's going to have the shared amenity of the pool, the clubhouse, the fitness center, of open space, barbecue area. So we're looking anywhere from 10 to 12 units to the acre. So we believe that these densities are densities that cities are really going to like. They're not a stacked flat type of property for the most part. There could be properties that we come into that will require maybe a limited amount of stacked flat type of product. But for the most part, predominantly, these are going to be built for rent. We like the detached nature of the patio home, but we also recognize that the townhome attached product is highly desirable as well right now for renters. It's amazing. With all the properties that we've toured here, Idaho, Arizona, everything we walk into, this product is like 100% occupied. We go in and say, can we see a model or a unit? Well, we don't have any units to show you. Can we see a model unit? Well, we've leased out the model unit because we don't have any other units. And it's just the way it is right now. It's an amazing thing that's happening. Some of the return metrics that we're seeing on this, I was just having a conversation with Tom Painter about this, but all-in build cost on a per-door basis, we think we're probably around in the high 2s, the high 200s. Our land cost per door is anywhere from, we're seeing anywhere from $20, it could be, or $20,000 per door, up to the $40,000, up to the $50,000 per door, depending on the location in which state you're in, primarily. But we believe that we can achieve a gross IRRs up at the very high teens. Our cash on cash at stabilization is going to be around the 8%. These returns are very similar to multifamily attached product. But granted, obviously, this one's a 20-acre site versus a 2-acre site like the stuff we're doing in downtown Salt Lake. So let's see. So what is the investment opportunity that we're proposing to you today, as well as what you're going to find in your packet, is we're raising a $200 million fund. The fund term will be 8 years. The investment period could be 4 years. We think it could be quicker than that because of the property that we're seeing that we're able to put under contract right now. Our target net IRR is going to be in the mid to high teens. The preferred return will be 8%, a carried interest of 20%. The catch-up will be 50-50, and the management fees 1 3/4 with a minimum investment of $1 million. Very similar to, I think, the other terms that you're seeing and what we provided to you in the past.
Thank you, Soren.
Well, thanks, Soren. Just a couple things as I wrap up. First of all, thank you all for coming, those that have been with us for a long time, and those that are just discovering who we are. And the one that's been with me the longest is my wife, Jamie, 30 years this year, and I appreciate her coming. So she invested in me a long time ago, which she's still questioning, I think. The second thing is just to give a little bit of comfort to the investors that have invested with us for a while and those that are coming in, is this is another strategy that we have on top of all the other strategies that we've implemented, and we've changed the way we structure our investment strategies to have a head of every strategy. So the head of this strategy is David. We hired him on to run this, and this is what he runs. He has obviously resources behind the company. You know, we have the extended stay strategy, the conversion strategy. We have a head of that. So, and then we've got the Fund One strategy head that's really responsible for making sure those strategies meet the business plan and they continue to produce the income that our investors have asked us to do. So I just want to relay and hopefully get some comfort level with all our investors. Even though we have a lot of strategies that we're investing in, we're hiring the right people. We've recently hired a former Marriott employee after 34 years that's helping us run our replacement strategy to help our Fund One be able to capitalize on some of those residence inns that we're converting. So once again, if you have questions on our capability and the resources we have, feel free to ask any of us kind of how we structure. But just I want to make sure you have the confidence in us, and I know you have in the past, and we appreciate that. And let us know going forward if you have some concerns or questions about how we're able to operate these things. So thanks again for coming. We appreciate your relationship with each of you.